Flow into gratitude as you watch, not as a lesson, not as a belief system, but as a quiet observation of how life is already happening without your permission, and yet somehow still includes you, still supports you, still continues around you even when you feel unready or unfinished or uncertain. And in that strange contradiction, there is a deeper truth about money that most people never slow down enough to notice, because money is usually seen as a target, something outside, something ahead, something that will finally fix the internal pressure once it arrives. But money in its real nature is not an arrival, it is a reflection of how your attention moves through reality, and attention is the only thing you are actually spending every second of your life, whether you are aware of it or not. And when attention is scattered, everything feels expensive, not just financially but emotionally, because scattered attention creates scattered decisions, and scattered decisions create unnecessary friction, and that friction slowly becomes what people call struggle. But struggle is often just misaligned attention repeating itself long enough to feel normal, and gratitude interrupts that repetition, not by changing your circumstances but by changing what you are mentally ignoring, because the moment you notice what is already functioning, your breath, your time, your ability to think, your ability to choose, your ability to continue, something stabilizes inside your perception. And that stability is where money actually begins to behave differently, not because money itself changes but because your reactions to it become less emotional, less reactive, less distorted, and more structurally aware. And in that awareness, something very subtle begins to happen. You stop leaking energy into comparison, because comparison is one of the most expensive invisible habits our mind can carry. It consumes focus, it distorts timing, it turns progress into anxiety, and anxiety into delay, and delay into self-doubt. But gratitude quietly removes the urgency behind comparison by bringing you back to what is already here, what is already active, what is already usable. And when you operate from what is usable instead of what is missing, your decisions begin to shift in quality, not quantity. You start noticing smaller details, you start respecting slower progress, you start understanding that money is rarely built in dramatic moments but in repeated unnoticed choices that accumulate when the mind is not constantly trying to escape its current stage. And in that state, life stops feeling like it is withholding something from you and starts feeling like it is responding to how clearly you are able to engage with it. And that clarity is what eventually turns simple actions into stable outcomes, not instantly, not dramatically, but inevitably, through consistency, through awareness, through the quiet discipline of not abandoning your present moment for an imagined version of it. And from there, gratitude is no longer something you practice, it becomes the way you interpret reality itself. And when reality is interpreted without distortion, even money stops feeling like pressure and starts feeling like structured movement through a life that you are finally able to see clearly enough to build within.